presenting, and I want you to adjust the gun a little bit off the right, a little bit off the left, and kind of find what feels right for that gun to be naturally lined. Instead of trying to add big numbers, we'll just subtract. And if so, like this is an 8, that's a -2, okay? The 9, that's -1. Does that make sense? All right, now if it's just on the paper somewhere, that'd be -3. If it's off the paper, that's...
Hello everybody there, Sean Mons with Firearms and Fitness, and we're back with kind of an AAR. You had to shake during that opening, didn't you? Anyway, so we're back with an AAR. Now I have tried to do this video like 4 fucking times now. First one, my footage got corrupted. I had about 6 hours of footage from the class, and most of it's corrupted. I can't fucking use it, which fucking blows. So you'll get little splices here and there of the class and whatnot, some of the B footage and all that. But overall, it's just going to be me talking about the class and whatnot. What class am I talking about? You read the title. Combat Arts Training. We did Pistol 1. No. Yeah, Pistol 1. Cheat Codes. And I won't lie, this is probably one of the better classes I've taken. It was definitely a highly recommend, especially for a one-day class and for as cheap as it was. Now, I don't like quoting prices that much because prices do change, especially when inflation is insane. But for $225, this was an excellent class. And it's really hard to beat that pricing. I understand he may not be one of the bigger instructors that you may see nowadays, but definitely worth taking a class from. He definitely knows his stuff. He knows how to explain this stuff, and he knows how to put it into the context of which he is teaching. So he comes from a very martial background, and honestly, that's where I got my start out. It was kind of a martial background. Many of us on here may have started our firearms enthusiasm with, sorry, I am stuffed. I've been sick too for the last week, and it's been rough, and I'm so stuffed up. I'm so tired. Anyway, so most of us may have gotten our start from James Yeager or the Magpul videos, where you saw Chris Costa and Travis Haley doing their thing and whatnot, and that really got most of us millennials, at least, into firearms. And you can tell from any of his videos and whatnot that he does take a big inspiration from Tactical Response, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with Tactical Response. I actually do recommend them as a school for anybody that wants to learn, especially as a baseline school. Just, I always tell people, know what you're getting. There's kind of a level of stuff to go with. And so you have classes that are straight up hard skills, and then you have classes that are straight up soft skills. Hard skills are things like just shooting better, manipulating the weapon better, things like that. Soft skills are just thinking, tactics, stuff, all that other fun jazz. I can't breathe. Oh. Anyway, where does this class fall? Well, believe it or not, all right, this is kind of a hard skills class. All right, it's pistol cheat codes. We're there to try to get better at shooting a pistol. And you will, 100%. You'll get better at shooting a pistol, and you'll actually have knowledge on how to keep getting better at shooting a pistol with some decent drills, some just autistic level of like depth that went on to just trigger control in itself. And it's a good way. I know I keep saying this, like there's a bunch of positives to this class, it really is, but he was able to always bring it back to real life, all right, not a competition thing. This is a real life skill that you may need that'll help you, all right? So in the grand scheme of things, this is about a 70%, roughly 70% hard skill class with a solid 30%, and I do mean solid, dense 30% of just soft skills, bringing it back to reality and whatnot. Even so much down to some of the drills he did. Now, I might, before I finish this, I'm going to message him and say if it's okay. So if it's still in this video, you'll know if it's okay for me to bring up. One of the drills we did was we're learning, quote unquote, a new trigger press. All right, and basically, you get the gun, come out, hit the wall, you're going to stay there, and once you hear, fire, you pull the trigger as fast as you can. Don't let it disturb your sights. Whole 9 yards, right? We did that, and he was off, to the side where nobody's going to be able to see him, with his pistol out, and before he would say fire, he would shoot and see if anybody else would reactively just pull the trigger, which is something that you see in police officers and whatnot. You'll see it in different situations that have come up where once one officer starts firing, everybody getting lit the fuck up. And this is actually something I've seen in class before. For instance, my first class ever was at Tactical Response. We're doing a moving drill where we're moving forward. One of the guys down the line lit off a round before we were told to fire, and everyone started lighting it up. So we got a ceasefire, whole 9 yards. We figured out where we're at and got it fixed up. Now, fast forward to this class. Yes, we had other people who thought, they weren't going to be one of the ones that during this drill would fire off. And they did. And it's something to understand for us that we must be in control of what we do. The reaction of somebody else cannot be the reaction of us. That is a fantastic, fantastic lesson to learn from this. And there's a couple things in here that are worth the 225 itself. That was definitely one of them. Now, this class did go kind of over the rounds that he normally puts out. So class said 400 rounds. I shot about 1,200, all right? Yes, I shot about 3 times the amount. Now, I did that on purpose because we did other stuff with it to include some red dot stuff because we had a bunch of people in the class that wanted some, red dot things, and he did it kind of as a favor to everybody for basically free, which is wonderful. And there's one thing in there that I took in there that I swear to you is worth every single penny of that class. The travel time, the gas, the ammo, whole 9 yards, worth every single penny. It is this comment: embrace the stripe. Some of you may not know what I'm talking about, but I shoot red dots. And for the longest time, you'll hear people say, embrace the wobble. Now, basically what you do when you have the red dot is everything that your hands are doing, that your body's doing and everything else. Let me breathe. Everything your hands are doing, everything your body is doing, and everything else is being transferred into that dot. And it's very noticeable. You'll just see the dot just kind of... You won't pick these up in iron sights just because just how large they are. All right, and you see it less with bigger dots, but all in all, you see it. You don't really see it with iron sights as much, but you see it a lot with dots. And people tell you embrace the wobble. As long as you are able to do that, you'll make great shots. You won't throw shots and everything. But when it comes to moving, a lot of times your dot's doing just this. It's striping, whichever way you go. And embrace the stripe was something that really keyed into me. It wasn't part of this class necessarily. It's more so part for his red dot classes. He kind of said it as a throwaway line. But that is such a genius thing to think about because most people, once they start moving with a red dot, they go, fuck this, go back to iron sights because they think it's easier. Well, again, your iron sights are doing the same thing, all right, that this is doing. Now, I'm going to back up a little bit and pretend my fist right here is the red dot. And you just see your red dot doing this constantly. All you're going to do is kind of time it. So as long as the stripe is somewhere in here, all right, you'll know to fire and you're good to go and earn those shots. And we did plenty of drills where we're actually moving our ass, trying to get from one point to another in order to learn how to shoot on the move. Now, a lot of times you'll see in competition, people start real slowly moving around. Not this. If you're getting shot at, you do want to move your ass, and sometimes it's better to be able to pull back, accurate, good fire to where people are shooting at you. And this was wonderful. This was great, information, because even in competition, this is a great help. If I learned basically how to move faster and fire, I'm going to save time. But not only that, if I need to get the fucking cover, if I need to cover somebody while I'm moving somewhere else, and so on, I now have... Come here, Teddy. Hey, everybody. This is my buddy Teddy. He's an itchy little guy because he just got a haircut and has to wear the cone of shame. Say hi, Teddy. Yeah, I know. But anyway, all these things that were brought back to a martial aspect, which is what he really teaches, the martial aspect of things. He doesn't teach competition or quote-unquote performance shooting. He teaches shooting for a martial context. And it's wonderful. Honestly, it's where I got my start at, and that's really what I'm about for the most part. And I've been shooting competition for a long time. In competition, whereas it's great, and I have a video out saying that it will not get you killed in the streets. However, it does teach you some bad habits. And sometimes getting regrounded and brought back will really help. Not only that, it's not like I went to this went to this class and just shot a bunch of rounds, got nothing out of it. I got a lot from this. I will say that as far as it wasn't all great. Don't get me wrong. There's definitely room to improve, but it's also not my class. The one thing I didn't particularly like is we went through about, I think, four or five different ways to do the trigger press, to fire the gun. Which, cool, I understand why it's there, because this will help somebody else. Because this is not a beginner class, but it's also not, all right, like a beginner class is like an NRA class. Somebody that's never shot, doesn't own a gun, doesn't know how to own a gun, and so on and so forth. They need to know what fucking lands and grooves are. That's what a beginner class is. All right. A new, I'm trying to think of explain it, because it's not novice. Novice implies that you have some skills. All right. And you're moving on. Somebody that is acquainted with firearms, this is a great class for them. All right. Because you're going to get helped a long way, and you're going to learn, like at an artistic level, good ways to manipulate the trigger and ways that are going to find ways with you. Now, for instance, for me, how I manipulate the trigger, this is how I've learned it, because I used to shoot DA almost exclusively. It's touch, press, bang, reset. Touch, press, bang, reset. Touch, press, bang, reset. Now you reset in recoil, of course, but either way, once I have touched it and I have started applying pressure, it is consistent pressure throughout until it goes bang. While it recoils, I put my finger off, the trigger comes back, touches my finger, letting me know that it is reset, and then I press, bang, so on and so forth. And we went through several different versions of that. Now, the final version was that version, which I was impressed with. I was a little afraid that it was just going to be a little bit of everything else, but either way, that was the one thing. My one gripe is I did have to go through kind of a bunch of different ways to prep the trigger, ways that I don't particularly recommend and I don't particularly do, but for somebody else, they may work. It's not like they don't work. It's just not something I recommend. All right. But they work well, and they work well enough. I'll say another thing great about the class, though, is we did have a good plethora of shooters, from relatively great shooters to awesome other instructors in the class, to fellow alumni from places I've trained and whatnot. And I got to see other people, talk to other people, got to pick their brains about different concepts that I got going on in my head. And one thing about classes, competitions, and whatnot, these are great places to pick people's brains and stuff, and are just sometimes worth the money in and of itself. Another thing I can say is Andrew's a great dude. All right, he speaks from the heart. He's a funny dude as well. All right, and honestly, he's got a touch of autism too. We all do, but he's got a touch of autism in a way that helps teach people, and that's great. I do believe you should 100% take a class from him. I'm probably going to take another class from him this year. I just got to figure out when. But either way, this was a wonderful class. I'd give it a good solid 8.5 out of 10 stars. All right. There's only been one instructor I've ever asked for my money back from, and this is far from it. This is a class that I do believe you should take, especially if you're new to pistols, new to like the general presentation. There's not a lot of work on like drawing or anything like that. It's mostly marksmanship based. All right, and that's fine for what this class is, and it's especially good for the little extras that you're going to get. Because if you show up with a red dot, you're going to get a little bit of a red dot in there. If you show up with just irons, you're going to get just a little bit of irons in there. But you're just going to learn how to run your gun well and well enough. All right. Now, for what it's worth, guys, check them out. Combat Arts Training. I cannot recommend them enough. Andrew's a great guy. Remember, there's no such thing as cheating. Does winning and winning easier. I'll see you guys later.